Hey everybody, if you're passionate about gardening like I am, then you probably spend hours and hours out in the garden every day in the hot sun, on your hands and knees, with a sore back, sore shoulders, sore knees, and you definitely feel it a lot the next day. Now, as I'm getting a little older, I feel it more acutely, and I need something to be able to help me with those sore places, the muscles and the joints. And instead of doing the Bengay or some of the other medicated things that you can get at the store nowadays, we have something we use on our homestead that's fantastic. It really does work. It's an ancient plant called Comfrey. And we'd like to show you a little bit today about how to use Comfrey. The documented records of Comfrey as a medicinal go back many years, 2,000 years at least, to ancient Greece, to medieval Europe. It's been used on the battlefield over the ages to help soldiers who have been wounded. It has ancient names that are really powerful medicinal names like knitbone and bone set. And we'd love to just plug into the medicinal value of Comfrey. So how do you do that? Well, we're going to show you a couple of different ways today that you can put it topically on your body so that you can feel better day to day. For our first project, let's look at the things that you'll need. First of all, you'll need some Comfrey, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. You'll need olive oil or another carrier oil. You can use avocado oil, you can use coconut oil. We like to use olive oil in our home. Then you have beeswax and some sort of a container. We like to use small half-pint jars. You can use jelly jars if you like. Some kind of container, glass container is preferred on that. Let's talk about the Comfrey real quick. The Comfrey that we currently use is one that we found online from a trusted source. It's organic and it's finely ground. It really is helpful to infuse into the carrier oil. And so we use that right now. We are hopefully in the future, near future, transitioning to using plants. We've gotten some plants this year. We'll show you later the plants in our garden. With those, you'll want to dry them like you would any herb and then crush them up, put them on the shelf, and you can use them the same way. Also, you can use your plants in the ancient way, and that's a poultice type of thing where you can take the leaf and you can literally wrap it around a bruise or a joint like that. That would be typically something you would use like in a battlefield situation or in an emergency. Otherwise, you probably want to do something like this. And we're going to create the salve right now using our powdered Comfrey. I highly recommend that you infuse your carrier oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever, about 4 to 6 weeks beforehand, putting your Comfrey in the oil and letting it infuse that way. Because what will happen if you put the Comfrey in the oil immediately before you make the salve, you might find that it settles. And so this is about a month old, and you can see that this solution here doesn't have any granular in it at all. It literally has become a suspension, the powder and the oil. And that's what I'm going to use instead of the pure dry Comfrey. You just have to plan ahead a little bit. Prepare about, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks in advance. But this is the Comfrey and the oil together. Let's look now at the beeswax. The best beeswax is that which is very dense. We found a local source who sells it to us in 1-pound blocks, and it takes forever for us to use all of this up. But that's great because then I can just chip a little bit off at a time. It's very hard when it's at room temperature, and you want to just, I use a cheese grater. Can't think of any better way to do this, but I get a little pile of my little shavings here. You want about an ounce for a recipe. An ounce will get you the firmness of like a lotion type of feel to it. That will be quite good for the result that you want, but you may want to go a little bit more balm-like, if you will, a little firmer product. And with a firmer product, you'll want to use 1.5 ounces of beeswax, even up to 2 ounces. I use 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces because I like to be able to dip my fingers into that container and to come out with something almost like the feel of a lip balm instead of a lotion. So we'll go ahead and get these 2 ounces all shaved off here, and then we'll go ahead and melt in the double boiler. All right, there we go. We should have enough beeswax to put into our double boiler to make a firmer and thicker salve, which is what I like, rather than the lotion style. Clean up a little bit of this precious stuff here on the bottom. And this is what it looks like. I have the water in there already. If you've never used a double boiler before, you basically put this on the stovetop and you're heating the water, and the material that's in here doesn't touch the source of the heat. And so it touches the water, which is heated from the source of the heat, and therefore it doesn't burn or scald or anything like that. People use it for chocolate or fondue, whatever. We use it in this house mostly for our beeswax. So we'll go ahead and put that on the stove right now. All right, our beeswax is now melting. You can see those chunks are starting to become liquid. As your temperature rises and you have that water in there, it will tend to start boiling and you'll have steam come out on the backside of that double boiler. You want to be very careful not to get a steam burn. You want that beeswax to be totally liquid by the time you add the other ingredients. We're going to put the recipe up on the screen right now. Once your beeswax is totally melted, then you'll want to put in your 3 tablespoons of comfrey powder and your carrier oil. Remember now, on this, I have already infused the powder into my olive oil, and therefore I have them in one separate step. So we're going to pour that in there. You will see, because this is cooler than your beeswax, you will see a little bit of hardening of that wax. So what I usually do is turn that up again a little bit and remelt that wax so that it's totally a liquid again. My 4 containers are now full. They're very hot, but they'll cool quickly. They'll harden, and in a couple of hours, they'll be ready to use. You can even see some of the lightening of the color as the wax is cooling. Give them a couple hours. Making salve is one way to apply the goodness of comfrey topically to muscles and joints that are sore or sprained. But there is another way to apply comfrey to your body, and it's really a great way that I've tried quite a bit, and that is to draw a nice hot bath and put the following ingredients in. Epsom salt. You want about a half a cup of Epsom salt. It adds the magnesium that will allow those sore muscles to feel better. You'll put borax, which is a laundry booster, which kind of sounds strange. Why am I putting that in my water? But the borax contains the trace element boron. And if you put about a tablespoon of this in your water for the bath, it is a really great way to bring that important mineral into your muscles. You want to obviously put in comfrey. I put in about 2 tablespoons of comfrey in my hot bath. It will turn the water a really crazy, kind of brownish, dingy looking color, which is not very nice looking. But this is the money thing right here. This is what you want definitely in the bath to help with those sore joints and muscles. And as the bath is done, it will stain the walls of your bathtub, but you can go ahead and just wash that down the drain and everything will be fine. It doesn't stain permanently. And the final thing is add a little coconut oil, about 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. It will allow that the softness of the oil to get into your skin, and it'll be a very luxurious type of feeling. Sit in the tub for about a half hour or so, as hot as you can stand it, and you will feel the muscles and the joints. They will drain of all the fatigue and the soreness, and you will feel like yourself again. Coming back to our salve, we have now a cooled salve that is firm and ready to go. Put on the lid for each of these jars. They're beautiful, mossy green color, very medicinal looking. Notice also that there are no specks in there, which would be the problem if you added your powder at the last minute. They would start settling. So this infusion process actually works very well. Now I like to put mine in the fridge. The one I'm using, I'll put it in the fridge and bring it out and put nice cool salve on my muscles and joints. It feels great that way. But you can also put it on the shelf. It's very shelf stable and ready to go. As with all herbs, comfrey has wonderful medicinal value, but if used in extreme amounts can cause liver toxicity. What experts have found is that the best thing to do is use your salve 2 weeks on and then 1 week off to avoid this issue. Here's a jar of comfrey salve that I've been using for a while now, and I have a bad knee. And it's made worse with the gardening and being on my knees and walking around the property during the day. So I just basically take this mossy green substance and rub it really well into the joint. And you can do this with your muscles or other joints that you have problems with. What I feel is an initial oiliness, and then as it starts working into that joint, it starts feeling warm as the friction of my hands works it in. After 10 or 15 minutes, I usually feel a lot better, a lot looser, a lot less fatigued or sore. And after a couple of hours, I almost feel back to normal again. You might feel a little different results, but the key is to use it and to work it into areas that you struggle with. Now, I do have something outside I'd like to show you right now. Come with me. One addition we've made to our homestead this year that we're really excited about is our own comfrey plants. We bought several comfrey plants and have planted them in these cages with our elderberry plants. We thought that instead of in the future buying the powder, which we used inside, we could make our own powder from the leaves of these plants, or even make a poultice of the leaf itself, just wet it down and put around a wound or some sort of a joint injury or something like that. The way you would do this type of powder would be the same as you do any herb. You put it in a dehydrator. We have a sun oven that we use outside during sunny days. You can use a regular conventional oven and just dry it like that. You can then save it up and put it on the shelf. If you grow your own comfrey, you'll have to make sure to deer-proof your area, whether it's a cage like this or just plant them in an area of your property that you won't have that kind of issue, because deer do love these plants and our livestock love them too, so we have to be really careful to keep them safe. Otherwise, they're really great plants to have around. It's fun to have these because they are so very useful for practical things in your homesteading life. I hope this has been a very helpful video. Blessings from our homestead to yours.